A lot of weird stuff has been going on in the world lately, and no surprise, most of it comes from the music industry. So, first, you have Megan the Stallion with a new music video, and the moral of the music video is she turns into a snake and consumes people. It's probably one of the weirdest music videos I have ever seen. And then you have Taylor Swift. There was a planned attack of terror at her concert, and she had to cancel it, and everyone rioted in the crowd singing her songs right after. You also have Kanye West. We haven't heard from him in a while, and there's allegations against him that he was recreationally buying $50,000 of nitrous gas per month to inhale. This is absolutely wild. You also have the plane crash in Brazil. A plane just fell out of the sky, out of nowhere, and we have no idea why it happened. And when you find out who was on that plane, it's wild. Okay, so the music video. She's basically wearing little to no clothing the whole time, and she's crawling around like a snake, and she turns into an actual snake and starts to consume men. First of all, really creepy. Second of all, I don't know what kind of message she's trying to portray here, but the interpretations in my head are not good. She then goes on to dance in front of a red moon, and there's conspiracies of connection with this and blood moon rituals. If you know anything about that, it actually kind of makes sense. And I've been noticing this a lot in other music videos. Makes you realize the symbolism is always overlapping with these artists. The symbolism continues throughout the music video. You can go watch it if you want, but I started to think about something. This is the same woman who was just at a Kamala Harris rally, and if you noticed what she did at the rally, she did some symbolism with her hands. I mean, she's obviously singing her songs, she's dancing, shaking her, you know what. If you put some of these things together, maybe, just maybe, there's an agenda behind all of this. She goes to a political rally, shows symbolism. A week later, drops a music video with more symbolism. This is all a conspiracy. I just show you guys the facts, and you can make the connections and conclusions if you want to yourself. But anyway, let's talk about Kanye. This guy seems to be doing something every other day to put him on the news, and we haven't heard about him in quite some time, except for recently where he just got a major allegation. This came from his ex-chief of staff, Milo, and he's accusing Kanye's dentist for giving him nitrous oxide for recreational use, so much that he is saying Kanye is spending $50,000 a month for this gas provided by his dentist. This is all allegations, by the way. He's saying that Kanye didn't stop talking about gas during his meetings, and he would even pull up to the meetings with inhaler masks on. And his dentist, Connolly, has fired back saying that this is all false information, it's making him look bad, and the guy is just trying to get some attention, so he's saying all of this. Kanye West fans saw this information and they were extremely concerned if this were to be true, because if you look up the side effects for nitrous oxide, it is horrible for your health, especially for your brain, memory loss, and all kinds of just bad signs that no one ever wants to deal with. They even started a hashtag saying hashtag save Kanye that's trending all over social media. Again, there is no proof of this being true, but I'll keep you guys updated if we get more information on this. Speaking of dangerous, there was a planned attack of terror at the Taylor Swift concert in Vienna, and all three of her shows were canceled, and listen to the details of this. So here's what we know. 3 teenage suspects, 19, 17, and 15. So they were saying there was suspicious activity in their lives before they did this. The 19-year-old quit his job on July 25th, saying he had something big planned. 17-year-old who was arrested in Vienna on Wednesday afternoon recently broke up with his girlfriend. But this is the big stuff here. Investigators unearthed chemicals at the house of the main suspect. Police earlier announced that suspects had taken concrete preparatory measures for a terror attack. Explosive devices and detonators were found at the home of the 19-year-old, as well as extensive ISIS propaganda material, 21,000 euros in counterfeit money, machetes, knives, and steroids. Now that's scary, but here's the scariest part of it all. Fans were obviously upset, rightfully so, but what they did was they went straight to the streets, all of them, flooding it and singing Taylor Swift songs. This raised a lot of controversy because you have to realize, what if this threat actually happens? I mean, we're praying that it doesn't, and it never did, but what if? I mean, you can never be too safe. Especially, I mean, just with that many people in the streets with no security, there's a lot of bad things that can happen. So that received a lot of controversy. And when I saw that, I was like, oh man, We got to do better. Here's the piece of news that I really wanted to talk about. So, there was a plane crash in Brazil and 62 people died. And you probably seen the video. The plane just fell out of the sky out of nowhere. One of the wildest things I have ever seen. And this is just extremely sad. And when you find out who's on the plane, you start to raise your eyebrows a little bit. So let's look at the details. A total of 62 people passed away from this plane crash, and 8 of them were cancer doctors. There was actually a total of 15 cancer doctors, 7 of which changed their flight and ended up taking an earlier service. So they were all going to this oncology center. 8 of them were on this flight and passed away. And the issue is, no one knows what happened. It says a couple minutes before they crashed, there was no emergency reported, there were no mayday calls, nothing. And so it obviously happened out of nowhere. And here's what people are alleging, that it was all because of ice. Ice was building up on the airplane, and this caused it to fall out of the sky and crash. With that is going to come a lot of conspiracies, especially with the amount of cancer doctors on that plane. But the only thing that makes sense in my head is if this was a completely random thing out of nowhere, and the way that it was falling that fast, I mean, who's going to be making calls? If you're spiraling out of the air, dropping 17,000 feet per minute, I think the last thing you're going to do is go on the call and on the phone and ask for help when you can't do anything. So that part does make sense. I'm hoping we get some type of answers, because this is something that's extremely concerning. I don't know if we ever seen anything like this in the past 10 years. So let me know, what do you guys think happened? Is this suspicious, or was this just a very unlucky, fatal situation?